All right, welcome back, everybody. As I see, I'm got a rigging here. I'm just about ready to pull this back bearing in, and what I have is a shaft here that I just went down to Home Depot, got a 5/8 long bar, and so I just have some different packing, kind of like a thrust bearing. This is probably out of like a different race out of some old bearing. I got all sorts of stuff right here in my dad's old garage. So I've got, this big 3-inch socket. They work really good because you see how you do it here, and then I got even sort of placement here, so that way I can twist both nuts. This was just a bar stock, like 5/8 stock, and I had a big tap. I guess you probably just get thread all if you don't have a big tap like that. I had a big die that was. I've got some big ones, so and I just threaded it. I don't even know what that is, 5/8 by 13 or something. The threads, because thread and that and such. But if you do it like this will obviously, with this weight, it'll want to keep sliding out while you're working on this. So just push this up to it, and obviously make sure you lock it in place, because if you're pushing, trying to push the pulley on it or something, it will want to push this back. So I have that there, and so I can crank on both of them. I don't even know if I have a spot where I can maybe. No, I don't think that's gonna work. I do have some little selfie stick, so it's easier to like mount on some stuff. I don't even know if this is something like. Oh, it's gonna. Yeah, maybe that'll work. I will try it. Oh, good catch. Maybe that's not a no-go. Let me try to move it here. I got the panel obviously pulled open here. Maybe if I scoot it over towards the center more, maybe that'll work. So then I'm just going to take 15/16 is what this nut takes, and you can kind of lift this up, and you got to get this centered here and then push it in, make sure it'll start on there, oil it. I know of chamfers more of engines and bearings and stuff for this reason. Until I got into machining, I didn't realize, they put rounded shoulders on things so you don't have, parts where it'll crack. I guess I understood that because I've seen people go around like blueprinting engines, and that's kind of part of their thing to do, is to go around the engine so you don't get like a cracked block and they get all the sharp edges off. So I understand that, I suppose. I just never really utilized it as a machining technique until I started wanting to do this stuff and get more into the fabrication and building side of things. There's a difference between an engine builder, and I guess I've been more of a builder, slightly wanted to do building or assembling, more than just assembling, but to also do building. And I just threw it on. You don't want to put the gear. I don't have the keyway in it yet, but I do not have this in here because this actually goes right in here between this pulley and this. But this still works as a good spacer. And I already moved it up in there, so hopefully I got it pretty centered. Kind of centered it. It might just be a little. Just don't want to give it a good, super hard pull. I want to make sure everything got a good start to it. And obviously the bearing's not holding it up, so it's a little lowered right here. So you certainly got to be careful. It's just right and barely on the very top edge of it, so it's probably not that big of a worry. There it goes. Give it just a little bit more. Oh shit. Get it in there a little bit. Kind of teeter a little bit. I really don't want to do it too much, but you kind of have to. But, oh, hold on a second. Like what I did say, I did sort of lock it down. Yeah. I was trying to get it to hold in there because I didn't want it to catch on anything. Yeah, I'm going to get paint in there. It is, see, obviously this is something to have to contend with, so yeah. Let's see if I... I'm going to move this back. This is kind of really, you see, it's real critical, tough spot to have to deal with, because you got this. I don't want to put on the tip of the spindle, so I put that in there to give me all this extra spacing. You know, big solid chunk of metal, just to put enough pressure on it to just barely get these bearings in. Alright. And see, when you let it loose, it'll obviously wants to go everywhere. The front either. Just trying to keep it in a happy medium. Right. See, oh, I don't have it quite far enough in. This is a real bugger. It really is. You're at that point, I think I'm past it now, where both of them will catch in and it'll just kind of slope itself up. Push this back in a little bit. Keep this side here. Yeah. Oh, where did my Allen wrench go? Put the lock my carriage in place so that won't slide anymore. I have the tip of this just barely pushing up against it so it won't fly back and forth like that. Take a look and see how we're doing here. Oh, okay. So you got about that far there, and about that far there. So it's this cake once you get it here. It's just that first part's a real pain. Try to come up with some sort of rigging to get it to hold in place, just like a phone stick. And so obviously this is why I use this big a stock, because you possibly constrict this other stuff if it was any smaller. And then you'd have a smaller size wrench. Let's loosen this off here. I think I got an issue with this piece here. Yeah. Oh, that looks more here. That's a loose section now. Because obviously there's the machine part that the bearing inner race seats on, so and that thing has to go on it too. This big old flat washer looking thing. It's kind of the outer protective piece there. There we go, I got it. Got that thing in there. Now I feel like it's hung up again. So you just got to be careful because you obviously don't want to damage it. I mean, you got to pull a little bit to get it on there, but you got to watch out for things like this because this got to fit over it too. I think it's too high on this side. Ooh, we got a small hammer. Oh, come on, hold still. Little marks in there. We got a little. What do I got here? What do I got? Come on. Oh, please be there. Please be in the center. Sometimes when you just get everything to line up, yeah, it probably caught a little bit, and so it'll catch a little bit, but sometimes that's the way it goes. I tapped it and it barely caught a little bit, but that won't really damage it. And alright, so okay, I think I'm ready to take this as I knock everything else over. Alright, I'm just going to move this carriage back out of the way. I give it its basic, yeah, it's basic. You know, give it a little bit of tightness because you don't want it to be over tight and it can course, you gotta take all this stuff off to actually do the final setup stuff. Now, let's see. I got this other stuff in the way. Let me move the slide back out of the way. See if I can. And certainly you gotta be a little bit careful with your MT4 taper in there. Obviously the end part in here, they don't have a super smooth finish in here anyways, but you got your, for your center, your taper in there. And, oh, see, this came right back off. Look how nice that was. I got some other gunk in there, some of that other grease. Oh, that's right. This probably been sitting in a warehouse, and so it did have a little bit of some of that rust on there. So let's see. I'll probably have to turn it. Oh, I don't have that locked in all the way. You put some lube in there. Shouldn't be a big deal now because I've used these oilers. I didn't bother greasing that stuff. It came with like, it's like assembly grease. They probably put it on there just to slide it on because it's usually what you do. Some sort of, honestly, it looked like Vaseline. It looked like petroleum oil or grease in here, like assembly grease. So I know some people talked about not oiling it because it came with some grease, and I don't know the stuff that was originally in here. I put some other stuff in here, and I think to actually spin high enough, I put the lighter, like a lithium grease in here that I thought looked pretty light, equivalent to what I had in here. But then I started realizing it probably was some kind of Vaseline or something, and it's designed to be oiled. So just oil it, because if you put like grease in there, have the heavier grease, the bearings, it'll have too much resistance. Even with the 1-horse motor, it wouldn't even spin the top 2400 RPMs on this. I'm cheating, but I'm not hitting hard, so it won't really do anything. And I do have some marks, but I don't think it'll be an issue. They're actually kind of sloped up. And next we have our plastic gear. Actually, honestly, all this does do is turn the lead screw for threading. I mean, honestly, I don't think you could evenly turn it. I mean, you can like the cross slide, but the gear ratio stuff that they have on there, you can't hand turn something with the cross slide. So, but that was one of the things I did like about this. I did talk about in an earlier video. I'm not as worried about these. I think I'm less likely to break these down as I would my mill, my 0704 mill. Because I broke the plastic gears in there, and it's got the same kind of acetal. I don't even know what the plastic is. But, I mean, it has a plastic gear here and a plastic gear here. And, yeah, I don't think that'd be that hard to thing. Because in the manual, it talks about how it has a, what do you call it? In the lead screw, it's got like a little piece of brass, a breakaway feature, a shear pin. That's what it is. Think of it. Boom. And I suppose you could take a piece of pipe and weld on some square notches or something, but what I actually used was a 4-wheel drive axle nut. I had to do a little shaving on the inner part right here because it wouldn't quite fit over, but it was like my first thing I ever did with this. And honestly, this is really hard to do. I'm still going to do it because I kind of tapped it on with the impact wrench before, just to make it a little bit easier, obviously. But I'm going to use this 1/2-inch ratchet. Just like taking off your 3-jaw or your 4-jaw, I stick my tool in the hole, and I actually kind of have to do something weird like this. I'm just going to put my chest in here to kind of stabilize it because I have to hold everything. I really don't know how tight that's supposed to be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could actually lock something. Well, actually, I've got this board here. This board will take all the pressure. Let me put this back in here. That way it won't rest right against the ways or anything like that. So obviously this isn't too much of a, I don't know if that really got it any tighter, if it's just putting a little tension on there. I really don't know how tight these are supposed to be. I think I had them tighter because I think maybe I'll run it. I think I'm going to run it and kind of do a break-in because it feels like I don't have any, they're tight enough in there that I got it with everything. And if I remembered right, I didn't use this to tighten it. I put my bar back in. Let's take this out here. So, where's my bar? So, just a big old bar, and I just, use some packing with the big sockets, 3/4 sockets like this. They work wonders. And see, I did all that threading on both sides, and it worked wonderful. I was able to pull that in here, as you can see. And the question is just to get it tight enough to not be over tight and stuff. And see, because the tapered bearing, if it's not in there, because the tapered bearing is not going to be really any different than the taper you have in the seat and something else. So if it's in there, but it's still designed to roll. Yeah, see, they feel really good. I actually, after I went through a break-in cycle and then oiled it, after I pulled everything apart and cleaned the bearings, they were really gritty to still have to turn. So I don't know if I got some flat spots because of all the chips and stuff that was in here. So hopefully I'm going to be in a better position with this. I don't know, that could have caused me some issues. I don't know, I had it a bit tighter. I'm not going to start like trying to get everything like really tight. I really don't know how tight it's supposed to be. But well, hold on a second. I'll put a I don't know if that's supposed to be this way or what, but let me, I'm going to pause this real quick and I'm going to come back. I'm going to put a indicator on here and let's see what we have. Okay, here we are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull on the pulley here, like forward and back. And because I did this when I put everything back together, because I'm just trying to wonder how tight everything should be in the first place too. Okay. Yeah, see, that's like 1 to 2. I don't know if it's really supposed to be that way, because if you have everything when it's loaded up, or if I need to pull it a little bit tighter. So that's what I was working on last time. Or if it gets loaded up, because I want to get all the things working in there. I mean, obviously, the other thing was trued into the other one, I suppose, because see, when I roll this, I think I'm going to have to work on these back plates, because it's got a whole new rig now. I don't know if they actually, when they manufacture this, if they made this back plate to fit this, but this one here, the 3-jaw, I could turn this thing all the way around and I'd be at like only 1,000th out here. Now you saw how much I have just by turning it here. And I wouldn't have, like the 4-jaw and the faceplate would be that way, but not this one. So I think I'm going to have to probably do some work on these, but at least I'm starting with the truer facing. But see, if I just push it and then pull. I don't know if I got it quite tight enough. It probably could lose or go just a little bit more. But that's, I don't know if that's normal, if it's supposed to be that way. Because when it's just under regular spinning force, that it won't do anything like that. And if you're typically not pulling and pushing right here, you know, I guess if you hit into heavier chip load, it could possibly push more. So maybe, I don't know if that's how it should have it or not. That was kind of my question, and I don't know if I over tightened it before, and that other bearing was that way, or unless they're just cheap bearings. I've tightened bearings a lot tighter than that, and I haven't had that problem. So, anyways, I'm going to work on that, but I hope you enjoyed that. That's basically, you know, pulling the thing out. You just take it out, get your spider nut, take that off. You just start bumping that out, and it'll start moving everything out, pushing this stuff out. Then you can take this stuff out. And they actually have to keep driving it all the way out and do other things if you're going to do the bearings and stuff too. But that's what you got to do for the spindle. That's how it goes. So hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you.